Now this is a lot. Welcome to City of Kings. It is a new board game where you try to protect your city, the City of Kings, and it's cooperative and you fight creatures, and it feels kind of like less dungeon crawly Gloomhaven without the legacy. But there's 6 different characters. It's partially worker placement because on your turn you start with 4 actions and you place whether you want to move, explore, whether you want your worker to go and gather resources, you can attack. And there's all these fiddly bits, so it's kind of nice, kind of awful. But these tiles all start face down. You flip them over when you're exploring them, and this is busy, but this connects. This is the City of Kings. It tracks your morale, hope, and the group XP because you shared XP. And XP, when people say it's kind of like MMO Light because this either says you get a cube where you can increase any one of your cube stats, or you get a disc where you get to add a disc here and level up your character. So each one of these gives you a bonus, like this increases your range, this increases your max health, this increases your workers gathering. Then when you get to the top, like you follow these lines, and then you can equip one of these special abilities in each of the 3 tiers. This is just a quest card, all the different quests you can do, all the different equipment you can get. And the equipment card is kind of cool. There's a body and head, and you can only get the head or arms when you get this high of health or attack. And here's the pile of tiers. These are the tier cards. And this is a time tracker. Every time it gets to midnight, you lose hope. And when you send out workers to go pick up goods, when you bring back to the City of Kings, this is where the group keeps all of their resources, and you use the resources to buy cards like this: 2 woods, 1 fish, 1 stone. And you can only buy it if you're at a shop or if you're at the city. So there's so many bits, and kind of how like Gloomhaven does with this is a banner or a monster. What you do is the starting card tells you which stat you start with. So this is number 6, but you start with number 1, and so if the number 1 was here, you would put this here. And there's the stats. You got 3 health, so this gets 3 health. Then that tells you passive attributes. Yes, this cloth came with the thing. This is like additional special creature abilities. That 1 green dot says, oh, you pull 1 out. So you pull 1 out, Frostbolt. There's instructions to tell you about that. And some of these tiles, if a monster appears like here, they get next run. So they would 2 greens. This tells you how much heal, damage, and so each, depending on playing, like each stat has different abilities. And then also, so these are the 2-player ones. So if you play a 2-player game, you use all the 2-player ones. If you play 3-player or 4-player, you grab those. There is a bunch of stories. You start with story 1, and it tells you how to set it up. And these are the rest of the story cards. So the story has 4 chapters, and it has 2 legendary heroic challenges that you can progress further. A bunch of awesome custom dice that are for luck, salvage, or gathering. And the combat is mostly guaranteed. So because a lot of times, a lot of this first story had to like attack and kill, boom. But how combat works, you see this is your attack. This is the attack number. So 1, 2, 3. That's how much damage you straight up do if you can hit them, if they're within range. But depending, this is a better person. So this person has 5 damage, but this person has 2 luck. So you take the handy dandy luck dice. Hey, St. Patrick's Day was recent. Anyways, you take those, you roll them, No, that's a bad example because X is be nothing. Let's roll again. 5. So this means I get 2 points. So I get a total of 7 damage. This is 1 point. Now 50% is what you really want because that takes half of it and you're supposed to round up. So half of 5 is 3. So that's 8 damage. This would be a total of 10 damage. Math is correct. Yeah, 10 damage. And they just straight up take the damage unless they have this shield. So that's the only other, like if they have defense abilities or a shield, -3, so I'd only do 7 damage to this 12 hit point creature. And that's it. Oh, and then also, I wouldn't say that's it. There's this, if you fight against this creature, that reflection means you take 2 damage. If you do up to 2 damage, you get 2 damage back. But yeah, that's the move is, you move how much you move. You're explorer. I don't know this yet, and I need to look it up online. Why there's 2 explorers if you can only explore one, if you can only move once. I don't understand that. Attack or heal. Special, like some of these abilities you can get like special, heal a hero in range 5. So, and then interact, that's how you get new quests if you go to a quest tile. If you can see that. Or if you want to purchase new things. This red. Oh, red is current health. I've been doing the opposite way where this is max and this is current. I mean, this is max and this is current. Whatever. I mean, still got the same point. So, but these are your characters. These are your characters. And the banners, there's a bunch of banners. The bad guys have descriptions on the back of them, but as far as I can tell, it doesn't. I mean, it obviously doesn't matter which villain, which monster creature you take because they're all interchangeable with these stats here. But you can only have one of each type on the board. It's kind of disappointing. Small caveat. The only difference is there are bosses, and bosses get standees. Stand these, can you stand these? So like this is an example of a boss, which looks like just anything else. So theoretically, you can make anything a boss. But the thing is, bosses have their own stat bars. Boss 1. So that's how that works. Just some examples of these cards. You have head pieces. You have leg pieces. Legs pieces don't typically add much. Legs, can I see? Here's an arm. I've yet to see where I can gather books from because it's not in salvage. But those are some of the. So these things give you bonuses immediately affecting your character. I don't know if this game is ever going to hit retail, but there's just a lot of stuff. Like this, my table's all full. I have all the bagging up to 4 and 3 players, and here's a bunch more tiles. These are like traps or temporary things you can create for the fun of it. I guess the setup, once again, to go back to the setup that I was showing you before, this tells you what tiles, all the tiles have numbers at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. So you go through all these tiles and all these tiles to build the map, and they tell you which ones are up or down. I will tell you, I played this twice so far. The first time I ran out of hope. The second time I beat the first 4 chapters because they gave you like a little cheat sheet, not cheat sheet, but achievement sheet. So there's 7 stories. I got through 4 chapters of story 1 earlier today. So the second time I played, I started heroic, but it's just like you don't really gain hope. So you really have 6 turns to really complete a bunch of stuff. Like not all, you do not reset your hope. And like, as you saw, you start with like 2 hope, I believe, and 3 morale when you're playing. Yeah, 2 hope and 3 morale. So you start with that much, And it's really not that much, but this is just story 1. So, but it was like a super quick mission. Like, it's basically like, get to here. Oh, you got there? Okay. And then it's like, kill some creatures. So it was very tutorial. So I'm interested to see what the next story is like. But from what I enjoy it. It is kind of one of those games where, like, I can easily get to the next part of the story, but sometimes you want to be careful because you could potentially really mess up your game because, like, this character, he did not... His attack was at 1 power. And my other character had, see, attack at 5, right? I think she was more of an attack 4, so she was running around killing everything, and she had a range... I think she had range 2 and he only had range 1. But like eventually I started getting to people like this where it's like 3 shield. And there's no point because he can't do any damage. So I had him just hiding in the City of Kings since nothing can affect you in there. And he was just using his workers, sending his workers out to like try to gather stuff to give bonuses to this character. Well, this character's being torn apart because you have bosses, not a good example, but there's characters where they have shields and there's reflective damage and and then also a lot of the times they have heal, so they'll heal like 2 points. You'd like, oh look, I did 3 damage, and like, oh look, they healed 2. And like, battle of attrition. But it's still I enjoyed it. It does. You need to really sit down and play to really get an idea of how this works out. There's some movement cards here. This tells you how to move enemies or drag or spawn new people. But there's just a lot of good here. Oh, just look at the dice. Luck, 2 luck, luck, X, 50% X. This is the salvage die. It has, that's lumber, or that's attention, fish, and axes. If you get 4 attentions on 1 tile, then a monster appears. If you get 3 axes and use a worker at home base, you get to flip over an equipment card so people can buy stuff. And then lastly is the gather, where each gather has a resource. Each pickaxe equals 1 success, and a stranger face means awful. So that means like you can get up to 4 or 5, and there's a total of 5 days. But like, say you're salvaging here, I roll this. Look, I added a 3rd. Like you could spawn a monster. Monsters can't destroy your workers; they just get trapped until you save the day with your worker. But it's pretty cool. You only start with 1 worker van, but like you start with 4 actions in 1 worker van out there, and you just decide what you want to do each round. Each player is assigned a monster when they appear, and so. But that's a quick overview and quick impression of City of Kings. Along with, they have 7 stories. I think these are 12 additional scenarios that you can play one-off. I don't believe they connect in any way, but they have the same kind of like baggies everywhere. They have the same setup. Like, here you go. This is a setup. They tell you, hey, place certain things there, and there's a lot of tokens. As you see right here is a bunch of poison, greater poison, and tons and tons of tokens. But yeah. So I mean, theoretically, they have like a harder, easy, and medium. I had played on medium, but they have like easier difficulties that you could play. So, but theoretically, I guess there's 19 different plays. But that's City of Kings. I've held you too long. It's cool. Just check it out. Let's play some games.